covering it with Sam local and that ultimate available. This could suddenly turn to a scary scenario for the Scarabs. Sam rotates over. Mike has the purple in his sights. He puts up the wall. In comes the sight, but still inbound healthy. And it's Layers' turn as Sam goes right up into the sky and knows that inbound is in that execute threshold. He lands, but doesn't actually get the execute. Inbound must have healed beyond it. And now Sam in a miserable spot, so Herwin comes in for backup, and Sam still finds first blood. I'm a Monster does not connect. Heimdall rides the Bifrost, but a freeze is landed on Baronic, and Herwin will fall. Mike will fall, and Layers starts this game off with a double kill.
One, I don't want to take this away from him. Sam goes back in for the fight. Zap's going to get taken down here. I don't know how long Layers wants to hold on to this fight. And look, I don't want to strip anything away from the Scarabs. They play that really well in order to get those 2 kills. But they don't get those kills if the Dragons don't box themselves in there. I mean, you're between a tier 1 and a tier 2 tower 6 minutes in. Like, you here in a second, once we see PBM kind of leave the lane for good and let, you know, Panda Cat jump off that cliff and see what he can do. Having him just slightly ahead at least alleviates the pressure from earlier this game, where now it's PBM and Herwin who are knocking down an inbound. Not quite enough to get a kill, but I think this is a showcase of exactly what I wanted to say, which was if Baronic, he's a little bit ahead of Herwin, and like you had highlighted, that could be great, but what's it matter? It's Scylla.
Yeah, don't you think that
the Dragons right now, and it's almost amassed him 1,000 gold lead throughout all of this. I mean, some neutral wins, not a lot of kills, but really just kind of some TKOs that are knocking the Scarabs back to base. Opens up mid camps for you, opens up Scorpions for you.
Mike tries to find the turnaround, freeze, goes into shards of ice, but the engage from Layers too good. And now Sam in danger of falling too as Layers wants yet another, a double kill, and 4-0 start for the rookie coming out of the SCC and taking it to the Jade Dragons. Fine, okay, forced to run away with that ultimate, but in comes SOT with the
charge. And we've had several teams, I mean, the Leviathans are a great example, where their counterpunch is way better sometimes than their engage. That might be the way the Scarabs are going to play this one, but I do want to see exactly like this, them making some shot calls.
The only person not going to be here for the Dragons is Mike. Inbound steps forward with that Rivers of Fugue, but he's in execute threshold. Sam finds the kill, and the Gold Fury was leashed all the while, but the root lands. Sam in trouble now, and Zapman able to make it 1-for-1 support for jungle, favoring the Scarab so far as Herwin takes up to the sky with his ultimate, but SOT, who's made it here already, has a big impact cutting down Herwin, but fine, okay, not to be outdone, gets rid of Baronic, so mid support for mid jungle, still not bad for the Scarabs. They get the beads out from SOT, and if they can lock him down, that's a huge kill. A 2-man stun from Fine OK gets the beads out from Zapman. Panda Cat finds a kill, and the Dragons able to get a nuts ball. Zapman's dead to rights for sure. 4 for 2 on the other side.
Look, I don't care. Like, Herwin, Sam, y'all gotta be okay with your deaths if PBM's gonna hit walls like that. Like, I don't care what's going on over there. Right? That's, I think, where the key comes through for him. It honestly kind of feels like you're seeing the full shift away from the shell. Like, Mike's playing on the next patch without actually being on the next patch.
Panda Cat leaps in, but gets cut inside the River's Review, drops the ult and gets inbound quite low. Backup arrives, Layers frozen, but gets the damage off anyway with the beads. And Blink up in the air, though, is Thanatos, and he's got an execute target thanks to I'm a Monster. Panda Cat traded for Layers 1-for-1. Baronic taking too much damage from Sam in the back, forced to retreat. But I think Sam still sees ways to re-engage as that man gets aggressive, dashes into Mike, and finds a kill. Meanwhile, Sam did engage, but maybe a bit baited as Baronic and Inbound have the heals. Their life total up. And now it's SOT's turn to get involved. Gets the beads out from Sam. Looks like that heal didn't do much, but SOT closes the gap. Turns it into a 3-for-1, a huge fight for the Scarabs. But Fine OK here to try and even the tide.
Baronic Zap just low enough that they're not going to be able to continue.
Burn to put on it, not just Baronic's damage that he can get out of this Merlin, but Layers is sustained damage as well with this attack speed build alongside Zapman. So inbound starts the fight off with River's Rebuke. In comes SOT to follow up as Fine OK has got an inbound quite low, but Sam, left alone, can't make it to the sky in time, and Layers finds the very first kill of this engagement. Crush fade away, not quite enough damage to take care of inbound yet. Who has the Makai's Cloak, really no dedicated magical defense, but shrugs it off all the shames.
Much lower cooldown, but I think it's going to be a lot of setup, and you've got to be careful trying to jump into an FG here in a 4v5.
Fire Giant still leashed. Fine OK makes his way behind inbound towards Layers. Crush connects and Layers low. FG now dropped and SOT has dived. Irwin up inside the I'm a Monster, forced to retreat with Sikkim, but Zapman closes the gap as inbound goes down and Zapman takes care of Hurrywin. So still the fight favoring the Scarabs, but now Sam for Soccer has respawned, but Mike has fallen to Baronic as Zapman retreats hastily. Makes his way out of there. Fire Giant still doesn't go down. Scarab still behind as Sam blinks in, catches up to Baronic, and deletes him instantly. Find OK gets the stun, and SOT, the new target as the Dragons continue their onslaught and likely should be able to get Zapman.
One more cooldown for Sam. Yeah, should be a kill onto one of these two. They're both pretty squishy. Also, that should not be a big kill. There's the Bifrost just in time zap. Look, that's feels like controlling Layers is going to be the key to this game. When they got a lot of those early leads, or massive leads, I should say, swings, it was when they killed Layers off over there near the duo lane. Right now, that hasn't been happening consistently enough. SOT's been able to get into the backline as well a lot to cause a lot of pressure on Hurrywin.
I'm a Monster comes through, but I don't think it gets the reset. Panda Cat gets the kill on SOT as Layers now low 2. It's the Scarab suddenly with a disjointed engagement. It's Find OK, finds a 3-man stun. Sam for Sucker gets a double, as does Panda Cat. They split up the kills. Layers gets the back off in time, but Gore, as if by clockwork, as if they spoke it into existence right when we said they have to make a play. Of course, the Jade Dragons
looked clean from them. It felt all over the place. They're not even worried about it. They've got 30 seconds spent without anybody on the Scarabs other than Layers to defend. They're at least going to go for a Phoenix. It might take them a little while. I don't know if, I mean, with an end, I think inbound should be able to respond. SOT should, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to slow them down and stop them.
12 seconds for inbounds back. Find OK already in. The Titan is the call. Layers has got to do work and buy time for his teammates to get in, but Panda Cat completes the deicide. 2 seconds away from SOT. 3 from inbound, but they will not come to pass. The Jade Dragons in the game in an instant.
Like, that's only game 1.
Ends up poked out, so inbound gets aggressive. Knock up onto Panda Cat, and Layers will take the opportunity to throw out some poke. But in the end, purple buff secured. Looks like the farm probably doesn't go to the dual lane the way it's meant to, but at least they got it as Hurrywin just rotates in, find Layers. Sam can't find the sash again, so Hurrywin forced to Thunder Crash away. That could have been a kill if that sash had landed, and now Hurrywin in trouble.
Hurrywin definitely seems to be in a weird spot there. I don't know what pathing he was taking to get over here. Going nowhere in the event that Tier gets back there. So I think SOT has a pretty big idea of who he needs to try and lock down and who he's going to be isolating throughout this game.
Sam goes to the sash. That's his 3rd one this game off the mark, but it might not matter. Windfire Wheels misses 2, and SOT survives. Sam looking a little rusty on the Najah here at the start of this game, Gore, and that's the resulted in yet another dropped kill. I think we could argue that that kill onto, I think you making it hard
at this
for
point.
him.
I mean, that's been a couple of kills. Maybe should have gone the way of the Dragons, and now it's Hurrywin who's in trouble.
Inbound gets aggressive. Thunder Crash back over the wall, gets him out, but Mike still left to the Scarabs, and they are ready to collect. Riptide allows him to move. Piercing Moonlight used as well, and nowhere for Mike to go as Baronic low. Solar Troll takes care of her when Baronic does end up falling to Sam to at least give 1 kill the way of the Dragons. But what a way for the Scarabs to start here in Game 2, taking care of Hurrywin and Mike in one fell swoop.
Just because of the cooldown, but the attack speed that Purple gives you. And I'm sure you can appreciate this as a Hunter player. When you're playing Heimdall, you love that, man. Bigger axes, a lot faster, it's going to feel better. And again, it kind of creates a deficit here. Panda Cat's going to have trouble overcoming.
And Hurrywin buried Baronic and inbound. Catch him out in the jungle. Hurry drops the beads in a losing effort as he is sent to the afterlife. What a play from the Scarabs there in the mid to catch them out. Now a purple buff invade.
Maintain this lead. A little under 1,000 gold ahead as this.
Inbound takes some damage. Falls back to safety though as Panda Cat's ultimate comes out to keep him alive. There's the River's Rebuke. Zapman though just going to ride the Bifrost. Thunder Crash disrupts. But Zapman makes it to safety all the same, but inbound was collected by Sam, and Sam gets the kill. Baronic, though, can't find I'm a Monster. Sam has Aegis and Beads, double safety relics, and the Aegis keeps him alive there as Baronic comes in for I'm a Monster. And worth noting how that fight goes, Baronic has a big lead and experience over Hurrywin, about a level and a half.
This is the kind of pressure. Look at this presence on duo as well. Sam kind of stuck in the jungle. Mike not in a good position to really start up a play. Even if the Dragons are able to clap back here, the Scarabs are in a great position to fall back onto a Gold Fury if they aren't even able to steal away some of these objectives.
Nice sash, though. That lands onto Zapman, and that was his death sentence. Beads were only 5 seconds away. Nothing he could do without Beads or Aegis. Maybe the Scarabs shouldn't have gotten aggressive. An inbound falls down for the Windfire Wheels into the Taiko drums. And just like that, a 2-for-0 swing from the Dragons. I like that the Scarabs were trying to get aggressive, but Zapman without the relics was just a bit too far forward.
I mean, 2 kills, though. They're still a little ahead here for the Scarabs. The Dragons don't really have much to follow up on after that fight. So the Scarabs are still in control, right? It never is good. I mean, 10 more seconds without
still
anybody on your
mid.
line. But you're going to be able to fight, especially against Sam. That was easy.
Oh. Yeah, and Baronic knew that that was going to land. Trusted Layers 100%. And had the I'm a Monster follow-up. Big kill for Baronic, whose good game just got gooder. Yeah, I did that poor grammar on purpose. Please don't get in my DMs.
Well, they've got a good zone. PBM's the only one nearby. Yeah, that's going to be
they
relatively free. They might even be able to get Whirlwind off the back of it. Thunder Crash forced out.
But just weird, right? If they could just take it,
a little bit.
Why wait till they don't have their objective? All the same, though, they get it done, and now I like their fight up against Mike, who's locked down by Layers. Fine OK, though, goes right towards Baronic, forces out his beads early, and Mike drops the River's Rebuke, but SOT is here. Riptide buys some time, Lawbringer used, and that should be it for Mike. SOT gets a critical kill, Fine OK falls as well, and who needs I'm a Monster? Solar Scarabs get it done with the SOT double kill. The Gold Fury's theirs, and Panda Cat now a sitting duck on this Artemis as Layers gets a double as well. The Scarabs have completely routed the Dragons.
I mean, really, Sam left with literally nothing to do. You can
needs
get your speed buff, that's about it. Yeah, I mean, who needs it? The Baronic comes back up during that.
They paid for it back by winning that Gold Fury fight so handily. They've got the Fire Giant down to half. They know Sam is here, and stealing going to be nigh impossible for this Najah. Maybe a ring bounce as he takes one up into the sky. The Scarabs grab the Fire Giant less than 19 minutes into the game, and Sam gonna fall here as well. At least he doesn't use his relics. He'll have those once he respawns. That would have been a losing effort, but what a turnaround from the Scarabs. And all it took was just walking up to the objective and starting it up. That's what the approach was from me.
Or they get pressure onto the back line of the Dragons. This is a really good split for them. I like the way they're playing it. They do need minions still, though. That's the hard part for the Scarabs. Even with Fire Giant, you're only 24 minutes in. So they're playing it careful. Inbound's going to be able to get aggressive, though. Whirlwind of Rage and Steel's available.
Well, they got to push in, so they drop the River's Rebuke to isolate. Inbound, getting hit by the Taiko drums. Thunder Crash from Whirlwind as he moves in. And at the very least, inbound will be cleaned up. So 3 ultimates down for the Dragons in Whirlwind's, Mike's, and Panda Cat. And it does net
K up on the Scarab, so you're feeling
pretty commanding
about that. Go ahead and grab yourselves an enhanced red buff, some lifesteal sprinkled into that. And now it's going to be up to the Dragons to make a play, but I don't know if this is the target you want.
They got Fine OK. Sam lands back in the crush. Excuse me, they got SOT. Fine OK moves up. SOT Lawbringer's up and over the wall. Now Zapman gonna need to get out through the Bifrost, and he just barely does. Has to use beads, and that gets him out. Meanwhile, now it's Layers' turn, and he cleans up Sam for soccer, but Mike kills him in trade with that good River's Rebuke. SOT and Zapman has to back. Baronic's ult now down. And the Jade Dragons, yes, they keep the Solar Scarabs at bay, as I've been messing up really not all that low, as inbound goes into the ultimate and starts spinning to win. Picks up no one, but does get the beads out from Mike, and they know they have Whirlwind now a bit low. And the Scarabs start to move in. Inbound the first one in. He doesn't have his ultimate, but this should be a good enough initiation as Whirlwind goes up into the Taiko drums and is low already. Layers cutting his way through the backline, and the first one that falls is Whirlwind. Panda Cat falls right behind. It's a 2-for-0 for the Scarabs at the start of this fight. But they've got some low health bars, especially Layers, but it doesn't like the Dragons are in any position to capitalize.
Yeah, and there's not much they can do to defend from this point forward. I mean, Sam, PBM...
Maybe they just end.
These are all setup gods. Yeah, I think you just run this one home. 30 seconds without any of the big damage hitters, and admittedly, again, Panda Cat hasn't been able to do a whole ton on this Artemis outside of Die. Got a kill earlier, but that's about it. I think this is going to be it for the Scarabs.
I mean, for what it's worth, he is doubles that man's damage, but does that matter when the Scarabs are the one on the precipice of victory with the Titan down to half? With the Titan down to a quarter, the Scarabs able to take Game 2 over the Dragons. We're going to Game 3, and now the Dragons looking very mortal to me here.
It feels like a lot of comfort picks on their side, whereas the Solar Scarabs, I mean, they take a lot of what they just had and upgrade it. I think the only one that you could maybe argue, and I think it's more lateral than anything, is going to be the Set and the Tsukiyomi, right? Because Layers was able to get really deep, but he's been having a hell of a day, so I don't really care what he's playing. He's going to look good on it no matter what. And this is exactly what we wanted to see out of him. I mean, you go back to, what is it, the caster predictions that we recorded. I don't know every single quote that made it into that video, but I remember a lot of it was around the air of how it was going to take a little bit for the Scarabs to come online, but I remember saying that specifically when it came to lands, I thought this team was going to be dangerous. It seems like they hit that phase a lot faster.
Panda Cat rolling in aggressive inbound, caught in the chains, and Polar Bear Mike finding first blood. Looks like the sleeping dragon has finally awoken, and they get aggressive before the 1 minute mark, and they are not done. Zap
5, maybe that'll change, but realistically, it's a better pace for Layers, I think, throughout the duration of this kind of early than that transition to mid. As long as it stays at this rate, Layers is going to be able to start driving home more of the jungle.
Well, I think it is worth noting his inbound gets caught out by a ton of damage. I'm a monster, not even needed. Mike finds his second kill of the game as he's on a warpath. But the Scarabs deserve some credit. They looked for a blue buff invade, and Sam just was not there, so that meant FineOK lost.
Not crazy, although level 5 for Mike versus 3 right now for inbound. So inbound's going to have to sit back, kind of siphon some of the farm from mid, maybe go back over, siphon some farm from Zap to try and hit that level 5 mark. Otherwise, it's going to be this.
Inbound pulled in. He doesn't have the ult for CC immunity yet, so he's a free third kill. Mike, Sam, and Hurrywin yet again ready. And doesn't it kind of feel like the Jade Dragons took the gloves off? They walked in with a younger boxer, said, hey, I don't need to put my headgear on. But and now they said, okay, playtime's over. And they are swinging for the fences. It's just onto inbound, but already a good omen for Dragons fans out there, as this time they're here to defend the blue buff on time. Perfect.
And I'd go so far as to say that maybe that was overkill. They don't have their ults to fight over here. Layers, it's going to be SOT who gets the kill. Layers, who drives a lot of that damage home, though. Even if you don't get the blue buff, that's a really good return kill, because like you said, the only person they've killed is inbound. Supports, you're going to be behind anyway. Noting, because that means they'll hit 12 at this rate faster than inbound. Maybe have a little more of a presence, but he's not going to get the chain onto Zap. So all of the pressure that they've been looking for just keeps falling by the wayside.
And they're going to find FineOK over and right without the Bat Out of Hell ultimate. Should be an easy one, and Layers gets the kill. More right side dominance for the Scarabs causes problems for the Jade Dragons. That dips the numbers down in favor of the Chaos team. 2,000 gold, 2,800 experience.
In my mind, after the 3 weeks we've seen them play, and admittedly for 80% of them, what we saw out of them last year, it feels incredible for the Scarabs here to be able to have this amount of control. They do have to maintain it.
Maybe a fourth kill onto inbound's the plan, but the no escape didn't even connect. Can the snipes connect from Panda Cat? He's got the scope, but no. And Zapman has isolated one more member who will fall back into Merlin damage. It's Mike, who they've got locked down. He goes for the chains, but Zapman drops the bead that allows him out. Now it's time for Layers to come in as the cleanup quad. Good wall, but now it turns into a bad wall as it isolates Panda Cat. The Jade Dragons making the kind of mistakes we almost never see, and the Scarabs absolutely capitalizing. Mike goes down, Panda Cat right behind. It's a double for Layers as the Scarabs continue to run away with this game.
I mean, I felt that 8 ways to Sunday. That was a great wall turned into an abysmal wall the minute you look at Panda Cat's positioning. And again, yeah, you have some steal potential way too late there from Hurrywin to make that one come through. FineOK is going to be lucky to get out of this one. I mean, has some survivability because it's Camazotz, but look, the Layers. Of course, I want to give it the credit over to the jungle, but the Scarabs right now are just playing
from Panda Cat. They do get the beads out from Baronic and the blink from inbound, but that's about all. And now it's the Scarabs' turn to get aggressive. They move right over towards Pyromancer and burn it quickly. Solar Troll moves in. Sam keeps him off with a wall and has to use beads to get away from the ult as I'm a Monster tickles SOT. Up to the air goes Sam, but where can he land? Back towards safety is the answer. And the Scarabs have now taken 2 key ultimates, the Anvil of Dawn and I'm a Monster, away from the Dragons, and they like their odds. They're starting up FG.
I mean, look, worst case scenario, you drop the FG and you kill off some more of the Dragons. Best case scenario, you're able to secure the objective.
So Layers is sticking on top of it. Fine OK is at least into contest, but he's been bullied. The Scarabs get the Fire Giant 20 minutes in, and Fine OK forced to retreat. Mike has chains on inbound and SOT, but Veronic and Layers work together to blow up Fine OK, and this assault is done. The Dragons retreat, and just like that, the Scarabs now have the biggest objective on the map, so they move in. Panda Cat looking to stand his ground and put out damage, but Layers cuts him down where he stands, and with the Fire Giant on all 5 members and Tier 2s before them, the Scarabs are about to balloon yet another game out of control. It's starting to look like a 2-game.
Really, this FG is very comparable to what Game 1 and what happened in the pace of that, but the difference is that the Scarabs aren't down 3,000 gold after they're winning these small engagements, right? They're up 10k. This is way more like Game 2, and they're going to be able to use beads, maybe a couple pulled here, but I don't know if this is the turnaround.
That's a turnaround play. I'm a monster, able to connect, and Veronic goes down. SOT still in range as well. He goes right for Hurwin, who does not have beads, and Layers is there to collect, but Hurwin on the way out, the fade away. Posthumous kill takes the Fire Giant off too, and now Layers caught out as well, even using the relics, but the chains still on him, and Fine OK gets a third. Somehow the Dragons off a great engage from Mike find 3 critical return kills.
Well, they stopped the Scarabs in their tracks, at least for the gold lead that the Scarabs have, but it's not going to be anywhere near what could be as devastating if the Scarabs hadn't gotten that Fire Giant. So well played from them to be able to read it. Now PBM's in trouble.
In fact, been hit by Zapman's ult. That should lock him down underneath the Tier 2. And as Ares, there are no leaps, so Zapman gets the kill. He used his ult to set up. Inbound and Zapman still with Fire Giant. Only Tier 2 that's gone down is the one in right. And for now, the Dragons have kept this lead from getting a whole lot.
Look even better because of it.
And the Fire Giant already below half, but the Scarabs will release it. Mike gets pulled back in by the Whirlwind of Rage and Steel as Fine OK in between the flanks of this fight, forced to retreat. But the Dragons do a good job. Not a hard and commit, but Sam had already used his ult. So Mike goes up into his. That pulls 2, but there is no follow-up as Hurwin forced to retreat incredibly low already, and Panda Cat stuck in the middle will drop down. Another huge kill for the Scarabs, and they are not done yet as Sam only able to find a bit of a wall stun there, but they keep pushing past. Mike falls as well. A double kill for SOT, who's played out of his mind this set. And now with only 2 members still standing, how can the Dragons hope to keep the Scarabs out of their base at this point? There are some low members, Layers in vent.
I mean, they're going to be uncomfortable, but Hurwin doesn't have the ult. Crush is still going to be good. Maybe you just go for Phoenixes here? I don't know. You have a lot of time. Look, there's still 30 seconds. That Titan's vulnerable, but you're low, and you got to be precarious about this. Fine OK and Hurwin are enough to fight back.
And Layers has already fallen. Inbound too low to come in too, but the Titan is down to half, and Zapman free casting, no one putting their attention on him. He's still full HP. Zapman gets it done in the end. The Scarabs find a 2-1 victory over the Dragon. The Kings have fallen.
I mean,